The sound of shattering glass jolted me from my paperwork. I rushed to the kitchen, my heart pounding. There stood my mother-in-law, Maggie, surrounded by broken shards of my favorite vase. "Oh, Ellie dear, I'm so sorry," she cooed, not sounding sorry at all. I was just trying to brighten up this dreadful room. I bit my tongue, forcing a smile. "It's fine, Maggie, I'll clean it up." "Nonsense, you're always so busy with work. I'll take care of it." Before I could protest, she was fumbling through my cabinets. I cringed as she slammed drawers and rattled dishes. "Mom?" My 6-year-old daughter Lily appeared, rubbing her eyes. "What's that noise?" "Nothing, sweetie. Grandma just had a little accident," Maggie huffed. "Accident? I was trying to help, Ellie. This house could use a woman's touch." I felt my cheeks burn. "Lily, why don't you go play in your room? I'll be there in a minute." As Lily scampered off, my father-in-law Rich lumbered in. "What's all the commotion?" "Your wife broke my vase," I said, unable to keep the edge from my voice. Rich chuckled. "Ah, don't worry about it. We'll buy you a new one. Say, where's Rob?" "Working late, again." "That boy," Rich shook his head, always burning the candle at both ends. If only they knew. I'd stumbled across Rob's hidden credit card statements last night. The mounting debt made my stomach churn. "Ellie," Maggie's shrill voice cut through my thoughts. "Where do you keep your mop?" I sighed, reaching for my phone. Maybe Rob could talk some sense into his parents, but as I dialed his number, I was met with his voicemail. Again. "Rob," I hissed, "your parents are driving me crazy. Call me back. Now." I hung up, my frustration building. Something had to give, and soon. I woke to the sound of pots clanging in the kitchen. Groaning, I checked the clock. 6:30 a.m. What were Rich and Maggie up to now? Throwing on my robe, I stumbled downstairs. The kitchen was a disaster zone. Flour dusted every surface, and a sickly sweet smell filled the air. "What's going on?" I asked, rubbing my eyes. Maggie beamed. "We're making Lily's favorite pancakes." "But Lily's allergic to strawberries," I said, eyeing the bowl of mashed berries. Rich waved dismissively. "Nonsense, all kids love strawberries." "I'm telling you, she can't eat." "Mom?" Lily appeared, still in her pajamas. "What's that smell?" Before I could stop her, Maggie thrust a plate towards my daughter. "Try these, sweetie." "No." I snatched the plate away. "Lily, go back upstairs. Now." Lily's lower lip trembled as she ran off. I whirled on my in-laws. "What part of allergic don't you understand?" "You're overreacting," Rich grumbled. "In my day, we didn't coddle kids with all these made-up allergies." I slammed the plate down. "Get out of my kitchen, now." As they shuffled out, muttering, my phone buzzed. It was work. Another deadline moved up. I glanced at the mess around me and fought back tears. Just then, Rob strolled in, looking annoyingly well-rested. "Morning, hon. What's for breakfast?" I gaped at him. "Are you kidding me? Your parents nearly poisoned our daughter, and you're asking about breakfast?" Rob's brow furrowed. "Come on, they were just trying to help." "Help? Rob, they're making our lives miserable. When are they leaving?" He shrugged. "They're family. They can stay as long as they want." I felt something snap inside me. And what about what I want? What about Lily? Rob's phone chimed. He glanced at it, then headed for the door. "We'll talk later. I've got to run." As the door slammed behind him, I stood alone in the chaos, wondering how much more I could take. I was in the middle of a crucial work call when I heard Lily's scream. Dropping everything, I raced upstairs, my heart pounding. I burst into her room to find Rich holding Lily's arm, his face red with anger. "You will respect your elders, young lady." "Let go of her!" I shouted, yanking Lily away. She clung to me, sobbing. Maggie appeared in the doorway. We were just trying to teach her some manners. She refused to wear the dress I bought her. I hugged Lily tighter. "You don't get to decide what she wears, and you never ever put your hands on her." Rich puffed up his chest. "Now listen here." "No, you listen," I snapped. "Get out of this room. Now." As they left, muttering, I knelt beside Lily. "Are you okay, sweetie?" She nodded, wiping her eyes. "I don't like that dress, Mommy. It's itchy." "Oh, you don't have to wear it," I assured her. "Why don't you pick out something you like?" As Lily changed, I called Rob. To my surprise, he answered. "Rob, you need to come home now. Your father just manhandled Lily." There was a pause. "I'm sure you're exaggerating, Ellie. Dad wouldn't do that." I felt my blood boil. "Are you calling me a liar?" "Look, I'm in the middle of something important. We'll talk when I get home." The line went dead. I stared at the phone, shocked. When Rob finally came home that evening, I was waiting. How dare you dismiss what happened to Lily, I hissed. Rob sighed. Come on, Ellie. My parents are old school. They don't mean any harm. No harm? Your father grabbed our daughter. Maybe if you weren't so busy with work, they wouldn't have to step in, Rob shot back. I recoiled as if slapped. Is that what you think, that I'm a bad mother? Rob's face softened. No, look, can we talk about this later? I'm exhausted. As he walked away, I realized something with startling clarity. I was alone in this marriage, and it was time to fight back. The next morning, I woke to blessed silence. Rob and his parents had gone out, leaving me alone with Lily. As I made breakfast, my phone rang. Mom's name flashed on the screen. Ellie, honey, how are you? Her warm voice was a balm to my frayed nerves. Oh, Mom, I choked out, tears suddenly flowing. Everything's falling apart. I poured out the whole story. Rob's parents, their treatment of Lily, Rob's indifference, the hidden debts. Mom listened patiently, then said, Sweetheart, this isn't right. You know that, don't you? Her words hit me like a thunderbolt. Of course it wasn't right. How had I let things get so bad? Have you thought about coming to stay with us for a while? Mom suggested. You and Lily both? The idea was tempting, but I hesitated. I can't just leave, Mom. My job, Lily's school. Your mental health matters too, Ellie, and Lily's safety. As we talked, I felt a weight lifting. Here was someone who actually cared about my feelings, who saw me as more than just a convenience. After we hung up, I sat at the kitchen table, lost in thought. The front door slammed, jolting me back to reality. Rob stormed in, face like thunder. We need to talk, he growled. My parents are leaving. I blinked, surprised. What happened? They're upset about how you've been treating them. Dad says you called him abusive. I stood up, anger flaring. He manhandled our daughter, Rob, and you're taking their side? Rob's eyes narrowed. I'm sick of your drama, Ellie. Maybe if you weren't so difficult. Difficult. I cut him off, my voice rising. I've bent over backwards trying to keep everyone happy. But you know what? I'm done. In that moment, staring at Rob's shocked face, I made my decision. It was time to put myself and Lily first, no matter the cost. I took a deep breath and dialed my parents' number. Mom, Dad, I was wondering if you'd like to come visit for a week? Their enthusiastic response warmed my heart. As I hung up, Rob walked in, eyebrow raised. What was that about? My parents are coming to stay next week, I said, bracing myself. Rob's face darkened. Absolutely not. We just got rid of my parents. I need some peace. Your parents stayed for a month uninvited, I countered. Mine are coming for a week, and I'm asking you first. The answer is no, Ellie. This is my house, too. Something inside me snapped. Oh, so it's your house when it's convenient? Where was that attitude when your parents were terrorizing Lily? Rob's eyes widened. Terrorizing? You're being dramatic again. Dramatic, I spat. Your father grabbed our daughter, and you did nothing. Because there was nothing to do. You're blowing everything out of proportion, as usual. I stood, trembling with rage. As usual? Rob, do you even see me anymore? Or am I just some inconvenience in your life? That he threw up his hands. There you go again, twisting my words. I'm done with this conversation. As he stormed out, I noticed an envelope peeking out of his jacket pocket. My heart racing, I pulled it out. Inside was a bank statement, for an account I'd never seen before. The balance made my head spin. Hundreds of thousands of dollars hidden away while we supposedly struggled with debt. Lies upon lies. In that moment, staring at the proof of Rob's deceit, something crystallized within me. This wasn't just about in-laws or parenting disagreements. This was about respect, trust, and the very foundation of our marriage. I clutched the statement, my mind racing. It was time to take control of my life, for Lily's sake and my own. And I knew exactly where to start. The next morning, I made my decision. I called my parents and asked if Lily and I could join them on their upcoming beach vacation. Their enthusiastic yes filled me with relief. When Rob came home that evening, I steeled myself for the confrontation. Lily and I are going on vacation with my parents next week, I announced. Rob's head snapped up. What? We can't afford a vacation right now. I laughed bitterly. Oh, I think we can. I found your secret bank statement, Rob. Care to explain? His face paled. You went through my things? Don't you dare turn this on me, I shouted. You've been lying about our finances, while I've been killing myself to make ends meet. Rob's expression hardened. I was protecting us. You don't understand. No, you don't understand, I cut him off. This marriage is suffocating me. I need space to think, and Lily needs a break from all this tension. You're not taking my daughter anywhere, Rob growled. Watch me, I shot back. The week leading up to our departure was a battlefield. Rob alternated between icy silence and explosive arguments. He threatened legal action, tried to guilt-trip me about breaking up our family. But I stood firm. The morning of our flight, I woke early to finish packing. As I zipped up Lily's suitcase, I heard Rob's voice behind me. If you walk out that door, don't bother coming back. I turned to face him, my heart pounding but my resolve unshaken. Is that a threat or a promise? His eyes widened, shock replacing anger. For a moment, I saw the man I'd fallen in love with years ago, but that man was gone, replaced by someone I barely recognized. Goodbye, Rob, I said softly, picking up our bags. As Lily and I stepped out into the morning sun, I felt a weight lift from my shoulders. Whatever came next, I knew I was making the right choice for both of us. The week at the beach with my parents and Lily was like a breath of fresh air. For the first time in months, I felt the tension leave my body. Watching Lily laugh and play in the waves, I knew I couldn't go back to the way things were. On our last night, I sat with my parents on the porch, the sound of the ocean in the background. I can't go back, Mom, I whispered. Not to that house, not to Rob. Dad squeezed my hand. You don't have to, sweetheart. You and Lily can stay with us as long as you need. Their unconditional support gave me the strength I needed. The next morning, we flew home. My heart raced as we approached the house. Rob's car was gone, probably at work. Wait here, I told my parents, who had insisted on coming with us. I need to do this alone. Inside, I moved quickly, packing essentials for Lily and me. As I grabbed documents from the safe, I found more bank statements. The secret account had been drained. My stomach dropped. Suddenly, the front door slammed. Rob stood there, his face a mask of fury. What do you think you're doing? He snarled. I straightened my spine. I'm leaving, Rob. For good this time. He lunged forward, grabbing my arm. You're not taking my daughter. I wrenched free. Let go of me. Mom? Lily's frightened voice came from the doorway. My parents stood behind her, horror on their faces. Rob's grip loosened, and I seized the moment. I grabbed Lily and rushed past him. This isn't over, Rob shouted as we reached the car. As we drove away, Lily crying softly in the back seat, I felt a mix of terror and exhilaration. I had no idea what the future held, but I knew one thing for certain. There was no going back. My hand shook as I pulled out my phone. It was time to call a lawyer. The real battle was just beginning. 6 months after leaving Rob, I stood in the courthouse, my heart pounding. The judge's voice rang out, finalizing our divorce and granting me full custody of Lily. Rob's face was a mask of disbelief and anger. As we left the courtroom, Rob cornered me. This isn't over, Ellie. You've ruined everything. I met his gaze steadily. No, Rob, you ruined it. I'm just picking up the pieces. He stormed off, leaving me feeling lighter than I had in years. Outside, my parents waited with Lily. My daughter's face lit up when she saw me, and I scooped her into my arms. Is it over, Mommy? She asked. Yes, sweetheart. We're starting a new chapter now. That evening, as Lily slept peacefully in her new room at my parents' house, I sat on the porch with Mom and Dad. The weight of the day's events finally hit me, and I burst into tears. Oh, honey, Mom said, wrapping her arm around me. It's okay to feel overwhelmed. Dad nodded. You've been so strong, Ellie. We're proud of you. As my tears subsided, I realized something profound. For years, I'd been living in fear. Fear of disappointing others. Fear of rocking the boat. But now I felt free. I think I'm ready to start looking for our own place, I said. Lily and I need to build our new life. Mom squeezed my hand. Whatever you need, we're here for you. Looking out at the sunset, I felt a sense of peace wash over me. The road ahead wouldn't be easy, but for the first time in years, I was excited about the future. I thought about Rob, struggling to manage the house and his job without me. His parents no longer able to bully their way into our lives. It wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about reclaiming my life, my dignity, and my happiness. As the stars began to twinkle in the twilight sky, I smiled to myself. This wasn't an ending. It was a new beginning full of hope and possibilities, and I was ready to embrace it with open arms.